is a very famous photo because she would do that in front of people. One of the last uncontacted tribes in the world.
Joe Rogan's revelations are always baffling for the common man, and this time he's pulling the curtain on the tribe that has been violating all the laws of physics for centuries.
They came there from Africa, like 60,000 years ago? And they were the most fierce tribe, and they were the most difficult to get past.
How do they manage to survive and thrive in the remotest of regions with barely any resources?
You have a bed for Papa, Mama?
What does their life look like without modern technology and convenience? Let's find out what Joe has discovered about these fascinating tribal people. Masai Tribe guardians of cattle. First, and the most riveting one on the list, is the Masai Tribe, which is one of the most fascinating ethnic groups in East Africa, particularly found in Kenya and Tanzania. Their unique culture, traditions, and way of life have captured the attention of many, including Joe Rogan, the famous podcast host. On his show, The Joe Rogan Experience, he has often shared insights about the Masai people, their customs, and their remarkable way of life. However, behind the rich cultural heritage and the strikingly colorful clothes and jewelry that the Masai are known for, there lies a deeper story of resilience and survival against many challenges. Originating from North Africa, the Masai migrated southwards in the 15th century. Their journey was not an easy one. Along the way, they acquired cattle from other tribes, cementing their deep connection to these animals. Yet, drought and disease wiped out nearly half of their population and their herds in the early 20th century. As if that wasn't enough, the Masai then faced European settlers, who arrived in large numbers and took their lands. By 1911, a controversial treaty with British settlers forced the Masai to give up the best parts of their territory, pushing them to less fertile lands in Kenya and Tanzania. Despite losing much of their land, the Masai remain one of Africa's most iconic tribes. Though now limited due to wildlife reserves, their presence in areas like the Masai Mara and Serengeti still echoes their strong connection to the land. Historically, the Masai coexisted with wildlife in these regions, often facing dangerous predators like lions and cheetahs to protect their precious cattle. The Masai people are semi-nomadic, continuously moving in search of fertile land for their herds to graze on. For them, cattle are not just animals. They are a symbol of wealth and status. The more cows a Masai owns, the more respect they earn within their community. Cattle are also central to the Masai's traditions. They use cows as currency, exchanging them during weddings as part of the bride price. In their culture, wives are bought by cows, and the bond between families is strengthened through these exchanges. The Masai diet is deeply tied to their cattle as well. They rely on milk, blood, and meat, which contribute to their incredible physical strength. In fact, the Masai are some of the tallest and strongest people in Africa, and this is largely attributed to their calcium-rich diet. One of the most iconic practices of the Masai is their jumping dance, known as Adamu. This is more than just a form of entertainment, it is a rite of passage for young Masai men. During the ceremony called Unoto, boys transitioning into warriors must perform Adamu. The higher a young man can jump, the more attractive and respected he becomes. This jumping ability, often seen as a demonstration of strength, has fascinated people worldwide. Tourists visiting Tanzania and Kenya are often invited to watch or even participate in the Adamu, though many quickly realize how challenging it is to jump as high as the Masai do. Joe Rogan has often marveled at the Masai's physical prowess, especially their ability to jump nearly 3 feet into the air without using their arms for momentum. What makes this even more remarkable is that they accomplish this feat without any modern equipment or training. Scientists have studied the Masai, but there remains something almost mystical about their ability to leap so effortlessly. Rogan has spoken about how the Masai seem to tap into something primal, a deep connection between their physical strength and their way of life. For the Masai, the act of jumping is not just a physical display, it carries cultural and social significance. It is a symbol of strength, maturity, and readiness to face the challenges of life as a warrior. Even though many of their traditions may seem controversial or outdated in the modern world, the Masai continue to uphold them with pride. The Masai's remarkable culture and physical prowess have earned them global recognition, but they are not the only tribe in Africa with a unique and awe-inspiring way of life. Secrets of the Hadza Tribe. While the Masai are known for their deep connection to cattle and strength as warriors, the next fascinating tribe we are about to show you presents a stark contrast with their hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Living in the same East African region, this unique offers a glimpse into an ancient way of living, one that is vastly different yet equally captivating. The Hadza Tribe, one of the last hunter-gatherer societies, has thrived in Tanzania's savannas for thousands of years. Their survival hinges on a deep connection with nature, showcasing ancient skills that have been honed over generations. The Hadza people rely on foraging, hunting, and gathering, living harmoniously with the land and its resources. Their knowledge of plants and animals is unparalleled, allowing them to adapt quickly to their environment. Central to their way of life is the hunt, where men wield traditional bows and arrows. They often set out at dawn, eyes scanning the horizon for movement. The tension builds as they pursue the game, using patience and strategy to secure food. This ritual is not just about sustenance, it is a cultural cornerstone that strengthens community bonds and fosters resilience. Yet the pressures of modernization loom over them. As agriculture encroaches on their territory, the Hadza's way of life faces unprecedented threats. The tribe's expertise extends to gathering honey, a highly coveted resource. Women climb towering trees to reach beehives, a task fraught with danger and excitement. The sweetness of success hangs in the air, but so does the threat of aggressive bees. The adrenaline rush is palpable as they brave this challenge, showcasing their fearlessness. Yet honey is not just a treat, it is a vital energy source that fuels their active lifestyle. As the sun sets over the plains, the tribe gathers around the fire, sharing stories and laughter. This communal experience reinforces their unity, yet whispers of change disrupt the serenity. Modern influences threaten their traditions, sparking a struggle to preserve their identity. The tension between maintaining their heritage and adapting to new realities intensifies, leaving the Hadza at a crossroads. The Hadza's struggle for identity. As the world outside encroaches on their sacred lands, the Hadza tribe stands on the brink of transformation. Contemporary settlements and farming practices have stripped them of a staggering 75 to 90% of their ancestral territory in just the past 50 years. The urgency of their plight grows daily, creating a palpable tension as they fight to retain their identity in an increasingly hostile environment. Despite their resilience, the challenges they face are daunting. The Hadza have no domesticated livestock and do not grow or store their own food, making them exceptionally vulnerable to external pressures. Their traditional lifestyle, rich with skills like crafting bows and arrows from simple materials, is threatened by the rise of agriculture and land ownership. The questions loom. Can they adapt without sacrificing their culture? Will their ancient ways of survival fade into obscurity? One astonishing aspect of the Hadza is their unique relationship with nature. They not only hunt game, but also have an almost supernatural ability to locate honey. The tribe's skill in communicating with birds is legendary. They often call upon feathered friends to guide them to hidden hives. This extraordinary connection underscores a tension between the modern world's view of nature as a resource to be exploited versus the Hadza's deep respect for it. Their remarkable strength and fitness levels stem from a lifestyle filled with physical challenges. Hadza children develop muscular bodies from an early age, allowing them to tackle the toughest animals in the wild. This physique, honed by years of hunting and gathering, raises eyebrows and questions in the scientific community. How do they remain so healthy without modern diets or gyms? As scientists speculate about the special microbes in their guts that may help them digest raw foods, the mystery deepens, creating an intriguing tension between tradition and the unknown. Yet, as the Hadza share their world with curious visitors, the dynamics shift. Tourism offers opportunities for income, but risks commodifying their culture. The excitement of outsiders witnessing their honey-gathering rituals raises ethical dilemmas about authenticity and exploitation. Can the Hadza retain their dignity while navigating the complexities of modern life? The struggle of the Hadza tribe is a compelling narrative of survival against the odds. With each passing day, they face the reality of losing their way of life, yet their fierce determination ignites hope. Guardians of the Amazon. While the Hadza and Masai tribes struggle for survival against the ever-expanding modern world, several ancient tribes in the Amazon have successfully resisted contact with the outer world. One of these tribes is the Huarani, or Huarani, which consists of nearly 4,000 individuals. They communicate in their unique language, a linguistic isolate that is unrelated to any other known language. This distinct language sets them apart from other tribes and highlights their rich cultural heritage. The Huarani reside in a crucial part of Ecuador, deeply connected to their land. They love their home and have fought fiercely to protect it from outside invaders. However, as modern society continues to encroach on their territory, this struggle has become increasingly difficult. The rapid advancement of technology poses a significant threat to their traditional way of life. With logging, oil extraction, and agricultural expansion invading their forests, the Huarani find themselves facing challenges that threaten their existence. Due to these pressures, the Huarani have been forced to change their lifestyle dramatically. In the past, they thrived as hunters and gatherers, moving through the rainforest to find food and resources. They relied on their deep understanding of the land and its resources. However, with the encroachment of outsiders, their ability to hunt and gather in the same way has diminished. Now, many Huarani live in permanent forest settlements, a significant shift from their nomadic lifestyle. This transition illustrates the impact of modernity on indigenous cultures and raises questions about the sustainability of their traditions. Despite these challenges, the Huarani tribe has chosen to refuse contact with the outside world. Alongside other tribes in the region, they have resisted attempts to integrate into modern society. Some might see this decision as foolish, believing that they should embrace progress and development. However, for the Huarani, giving up their long-standing traditions would be an unimaginable loss. They have lived in harmony with their environment for generations, and abandoning their customs would feel like betraying their identity. Imagine living in a world where your neighbors are intruding on your home, demanding that you change your way of life. The Huarani face this harsh reality daily as outsiders push into their territory. The tribe's commitment to preserving their culture is a testament to their resilience. They are not just fighting for their land, they are fighting for their very way of life. Dangerous cannibals of Papua New Guinea. Amazonian tribes might be steadfast in their no contact with progressive humans policy, but this next tribe would welcome any outsider with open arms, lit fires, and sharpened utensils. After all, for them, humans from the outside world are their next meal. In the heart of Papua New Guinea lies a tribe that challenges not only social norms, but also the very laws of physics. Unlike the well-documented Hadza and Huarani tribes, who maintain a delicate balance with nature, this tribe's practices veer into territory that defies understanding. Their rituals of cannibalism, deeply rooted in tradition, paint a picture of a culture that confronts life and death in ways that many find unsettling. As the world rapidly modernizes, these tribespeople remain steadfast in their ways, even as they face overwhelming odds. Papua New Guinea is home to over 900 tribes, with around 300 located in West Papua. These tribes boast distinct customs and languages, contributing to one of the most diverse cultures on the planet. Since achieving independence in 1975, the nation has struggled with governance due to the myriad of local societies that must be unified under one national identity. The island's tribes, once isolated, are increasingly affected by the outside world, which threatens their way of life through deforestation, agriculture, and industrial encroachment. This constant threat creates a backdrop for the tribe's survival as they battle to preserve their culture and land. Among these tribes, some have gained notoriety for their cannibalistic practices. This label, often sensationalized, obscures the profound meanings these rituals hold for them. Cannibalism, while shocking to many, serves as an honor for the deceased, a way to keep the spirit of the loved ones alive within their community. Rather than burying or cremating their dead, these tribes believe that consuming the body prevents it from being consumed by worms, a fate considered disgraceful. The act of feasting on the deceased symbolizes respect and connection, embodying the belief that the spirits of their ancestors remain present in their lives. This tradition challenges the very notion of death, asserting that the deceased continues to play a vital role in their community. Cannibalism in Papua New Guinea is not a daily practice. It is reserved for specific rituals, particularly after conflicts with neighboring tribes. By consuming the bodies of fallen enemies, they believe they can ward off evil spirits and assert their victory. This practice is a significant part of their spiritual beliefs and helps maintain a sense of community and identity amidst ongoing challenges. Despite modern influences, many tribes remain committed to their ancestral ways, often seen as backward by outsiders. However, this perspective fails to recognize the depth of their cultural practices. On an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, a guest discussed how limited instances of cannibalism could protect the tribespeople from diseases often linked to the practice, such as kuru. Since they do not regularly consume human flesh, they mitigate the risks associated with cannibalism. As globalization continues to encroach on their lands, these tribes face immense pressure to adapt or abandon their ways. The Indomitable Chukchi tribe. Now we have a tribe that no one wants to mess with because they're unlike Papua New Guinea's cannibal tribes, Amazonian hunter-gatherers, and other secluded tribes of the tropical region. These people live in one of the coldest parts of the planet, the Chukchi, and have managed to survive, solely on their own for centuries in the freezing hell. In the heart of Siberia, where few dare to tread, lives a tribe that commands respect, the Chukchi. This resilient group has thrived in one of the coldest regions on the planet, adapting to conditions that would challenge the toughest individuals. With temperatures often plunging to extreme lows, survival is no easy task. But the Chukchi have mastered this icy landscape over centuries. Their remarkable ability to endure and thrive in such a harsh climate sets them apart from many other cultures. Historically, the Chukchi have demonstrated an impressive tenacity. In the 1700s, the Russian army sought to subjugate them, launching numerous campaigns against the tribe. However, after 40 years of costly attempts, the Russians eventually gave up. This history illustrates that the Chukchi are not easily defeated. They fiercely protect their land, culture, and way of life against outside pressures. Their endurance in the face of adversity has become a defining characteristic of their identity. To survive in this frigid environment, the Chukchi rely on a variety of traditional skills honed over generations. Hunting plays a critical role in their daily lives, with reindeer being a vital source of food, clothing, and shelter. Imagine the Chukchi skillfully navigating the snowy wilderness, using their extensive knowledge of the land and wildlife to hunt effectively. They excel in tracking and movement across the frost-covered terrain, making them formidable hunters in their icy domain. Just between us, let's keep this a secret. Santa Claus wouldn't want to hear about their reindeer hunting. The Chukchi also possess a rich spiritual life that profoundly influences their existence. They believe that upon death, their spirits journey to the realm of the polar star. This belief fosters a deep connection to their environment, instilling a sense of purpose and understanding of the cycles of life and death. Their burial customs are unique. They place items with the deceased, believing these possessions will accompany them in the afterlife. This practice highlights their respect for the cycle of life and their enduring connection to the earth. Culturally, the Chukchi express themselves through a variety of spiritual practices, sustainable living, and creative endeavors. Their art, stories, and rituals reflect their intimate relationship with nature and the environment. Today, local organizations, international partnerships, and government initiatives are striving to protect and preserve the Chukchi's rich heritage. These efforts are vital for safeguarding their traditional practices, languages, and stories from the encroaching influences of modern society. Their determination to maintain their way of life in a rapidly changing world serves as a powerful reminder of the strength of indigenous cultures. In a world that often overlooks the wisdom of ancient peoples, the Chukchi stand as a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. The Pygmies of the Congo. What if the smallest people in the world held secrets of survival that could captivate the imagination? Their ability to navigate the dense forests surpasses that of the Amazonian tribes. However, these people may have hard time surviving in conditions where the Chukchi have lived since they're so used to the African climate. The Pygmies of the Congo are such a group, blending an incredible story of resilience with a history fraught with danger. While the term pygmy is now considered derogatory, it has long been used to describe various tribes in Central Africa. Among them, the Mbuti people stand out, residing in the Ituri forest of northern Congo. The tallest members of this tribe rarely exceed 5 feet, or about 1.5 meters tall. Their small stature is not just a genetic quirk. It enables them to navigate the dense forest more effectively than taller individuals. The indigenous peoples of the Congo Basin are a diverse collection of groups that include nomadic forest dwellers. These groups, like the Baka, Aka, and Mbuti, range in size from tens of thousands to fewer than 500, as in the case of the Bedzan. Despite their differences, they share languages and customs and live closely with non-pygmy communities. Today, approximately 900,000 pygmies inhabit the Congo Basin, with smaller populations in neighboring countries such as Rwanda, Burundi, and Zambia. These small communities have preserved their hunting and gathering culture for thousands of years. Research shows that the tallest men in these tribes are only a few inches above 4 feet, yet they thrive as skilled hunters. Their height does not hinder them. In fact, their strength and resourcefulness allow them to hunt large animals using tools they create themselves. However, their way of life is under constant threat. Historically, pygmies have faced severe dangers, including violent attacks from cannibalistic tribes. Their small size has made them vulnerable targets for those who see them as prey. This reality creates a chilling tension around their existence. Imagine being part of a tribe that has to hide from other humans who view you not as a fellow being, but as potential food. Some explorers and photographers have ventured into the Congo to document the lives of these tribes. Forrest Galante, a well-known explorer, captured striking images of the pygmies. He noted that while awareness of the dangers they faced has increased, many believe that some tribes may have gone extinct due to hunting and cannibalism. If such brutal practices continue today, one can only wonder about their historical prevalence. The idea that entire tribes may have vanished without anyone knowing raises serious concerns. Many speculate about the extent of cannibalism and violence against these tribes throughout history. However, if we put aside the darker aspects of their past, we can appreciate the resilience of those pygmies who continue to thrive in their natural habitat. The pygmies represent a remarkable phenomenon in anthropology. They are not just a group of small people, they are a testament to human adaptability. With nearly 1 million pygmies living in the forests, their story is both tragic and inspiring. The Pygmies of the Congo remain one of the most fascinating tribes in the world, urging us to take action to protect their unique culture and way of life. Their future hangs in the balance, making their story all the more urgent and compelling. The Sentinelles. While the Pygmies of Congo are struggling to fight off multiple threats, including enemy tribes, modern humans, and the disastrous political conditions of Congo, there's a tribe in the Indian Ocean that has successfully managed to keep everyone out. These people, called the Sentinelles, are often considered the most formidable and isolated indigenous people. They dwell on their own little wooded island, North Sentinel, which is roughly the size of Manhattan and is part of an island chain that also includes another uncontacted tribe, the Shompen. They continue to avoid any interaction with outsiders and fight anyone who approaches. In November 2018, John Allen Chow, an American missionary, was killed by Sentinelles while attempting to convert them to Christianity. His illicit effort at contact has the potential to wipe out the whole Sentinelles tribe by bringing new illnesses like flu, to which they are not immune. Sundar Raj and Pandit Tiwari, 2 Indian fishermen who had moored their boat near North Sentinel to sleep after poaching in the seas surrounding the island, were murdered in 2006 when it broke loose and floated into the shore. Poachers are known to illegally fish in the seas surrounding the island, grabbing turtles and diving for lobsters and sea cucumbers. The Sentinelles have made it apparent that they do not wish to communicate. This is a wise decision. Following the British colonization of their islands, sickness and bloodshed wiped off neighboring indigenous peoples. Most of what is known about the Sentinelles has been gathered by viewing them from boats moored more than an arrow's distance from the shore, and a few brief periods in the past where the Sentinelles allowed the authorities to get close enough to hand over some coconuts. Even what they call themselves or their island is unknown, though the neighboring Onga people call North Sentinel Chia da Kwakweye. The Sentinelles hunt and gather in the jungle, and they fish in coastal seas. Unlike their neighbors, the Jarawa, they build boats, namely very thin outrigger canoes. These are only suitable for shallow seas since they are guided and pushed using a pole similar to a punt. The Sentinelles are a nomadic, hunter-gatherer people that are supposed to divide into 3 divisions. They have 2 types of houses: big communal huts with many hearths for a number of families, and more ephemeral shelters with no sides, which may sometimes be seen on the beach and accommodate 1 family unit. The women had fiber strings wrapped around their waists, necks, and heads. The men also wear necklaces and headbands, but with a thicker waist belt. They carry spears, bows, and arrows. Although commonly described in the media as Stone Age, this is clearly not true. There is no reason to believe the Sentinelles have been living in the same way for the tens of thousands of years indigenous peoples are likely to have been in the Andaman Islands. Their ways of life will have changed and adapted many times, like all peoples. For instance, they now use metal which has been washed up or which they have recovered from shipwrecks on the island reefs. The iron is sharpened and used to tip their arrows. From a distance, the Sentinelese islanders appear to be in excellent condition and prospering, as opposed to the great Andamanese peoples to whom British colonial authorities sought to introduce civilization. The people observed on the coasts of North Sentinel appear proud, robust, and healthy, and observers have remarked a large number of children and pregnant women. They gained international prominence in the aftermath of the 2004 Asian tsunami, when a Sentinelese man was spotted on a beach throwing arrows at a helicopter that was checking on them. In the late 1800s, M.V. Portman, the British officer in charge of the Andamanese, came on North Sentinel Island with a big crew with the goal of reaching the Sentinelese. The crew discovered recently abandoned camps and routes, but the Sentinelese were nowhere to be seen. But they did discover the bones of an elderly man placed in a large bucket, in a sitting posture, and hidden in the buttressed roots of a big tree. It is probable that the Sentinelese honor their deceased in this manner. After a few days, the party saw the kidnapping of an old couple and 4 children in the interest of science, and their transportation to Portman's home in Port Blair, the provincial capital. Predictably, they became sick and the adults perished. The youngsters were returned to their island with a variety of presents. It is not known how many Sentinelese became ill as a result of this science, but it's likely that the children would have passed on their diseases and the results would have been devastating. Intergenerational trauma from this harrowing experience and other similar ones is likely to account for the Sentinelese's determination to avoid contact with outsiders. Portman himself later confessed, "We cannot be said to have done anything more than increase their general terror of and hostility to all comers." During the 1970s, the Indian authorities made occasional trips to North Sentinel in an attempt to befriend the Sentinelese. These were often at the behest of dignitaries who wanted an adventure. On one of these trips, 2 pigs and a doll were left on the beach. The Sentinelese speared the pigs and buried them along with the doll. Such visits became more regular in the 1980s. The teams would try to land at a place out of the reach of arrows and leave gifts such as coconuts, bananas, and bits of iron. Sometimes the Sentinelese appeared to make friendly gestures. At others, they would take the gifts into the forest and then fire arrows at the contact party. However, all visits to the North Sentinel Island have been restricted and deemed illegal by the Indian government in order to preserve the community, its safety, and out of respect for their choice to remain no contact. The Indian Coast Guard patrols around a buffer zone near the coast to prevent outsiders from coming too close.